Yeah, and just when you think you're all done, right? Mother effer. Oh, man. You mother effer. Timer flash 7 times. BTU system. You ain't testing, you're guessing. All right, we got this Laars Mighty Therm 2 gas-fired 80% boiler. We have an indirect Turbomax. And we have an emergency service call today, Sunday, October 15, 2023. Multiple zones are calling, but we're here because there's no domestic hot water. So I took a look at my pressure gauge. Let me get my light up here. And she's cold. We got pressure in there. That's a very high pressure gauge. You know, it starts at 50 and it goes to 200, so that's a little abnormal there. And here we have that, and this says 31421 50 psi relief valve. 50 psi relief valve. Yeah, it should be 30, but I guess they changed specifications on this. All right, let's see what's going on. All right, so I popped off the front cover. It's exposing my thermostatic control, boiler control, all my connections, and we have a electronic ignition system. All right, so I removed the lower compartment. I have 2 gas valves, 2 pressure switches. Looks like I even have. It's not a door switch. It's a high limit. That's pretty cool. Could use my switcheroo today. Let's check for voltage between 24 volts common and power. All right, so I have my alligator clips to there, reading nothing. So let's push in that door switch, and we still have nothing. What's also interesting is that I have a low water cutoff here, McDonald Miller, and nothing's illuminated on that either. So I'm questioning line voltage or secondary voltage. So let's find a transformer. All right, so I lifted up the front cover that holds on the wiring terminal block, our boiler control, our electronic ignition module, and I exposed my transformer, which is right there in this bird's nest of wire. I removed the blue and the yellow wire for secondary, and let's turn the power on, and I don't get any voltage. So I have no voltage out of my transformer, and that will explain a lot. So I also found this inline fuse on our secondary circuit, and she's fine. She's not burnt, so it looks like, unless I'm not getting 110 volts in my primary secondary transformer, we have a dead transformer. All right, I have my multimeter set to read voltage. I have one lead on line, the other one on neutral. My transformer is removed from the equation. Let's turn on power, and we have 120 volts. So it looks like we have a dead transformer. The fuse was good, but transformer. All right, I have my new transformer in. I'm using the Honeywell with the circuit breaker built right into it. Secondary, the yellow and blue. Primary, the white and the black. Let's turn on power. Okay. Let's see what happens. We have circulator operational. Waiting for that draft motor, which is right there. That draft motor's got to kick on. We have a call for space heating, call for domestic hot water. We don't have warm weather shutdown. It looks like I don't have inducer motor. All right, so I disconnected my harness going to my inducer, my blower assembly, and let's see if we get any voltage at power cycle. Okay, just 1.2 right now. Let's wait for the system to complete its boot up process. Circulator is on. But nothing to blower yet. Nothing to blower. Interesting. All right, so after about 20 seconds, it turned on voltage to it. So let's see if I can plug that in. All right, I got my blower on. Next order operation should be pressure switches, sensing pressure. I don't know what this stupid thing does. Okay. Uncut, unedited, raw. Let's see what happens next. You know what? We gotta check for voltage going to our gas valves. I got my voltmeter to read voltage. We're gonna let this thing cycle on. I'm still trying to figure out what this switch is about. Some kind of door switch, it's gotta be. Let's let this thing power up and see if that glows. And if that glows, the next order operation is checking to see if we get 24 volts to the gas valves. All right, patiently waiting for the hot surface ignition control module to give that 110 volts. Let's wait and see. This has nothing to do with anything, but let's push that in again anyway. When I pulled out my hot surface igniter, the ceramic body felt warm, so I'm leaning towards it being okay, but let's see. Patiently waiting. Interesting. I swear these things lie half the time. I am not getting voltage there. I had it before. I really want to know what the hell that little button is for. Right there, and there. Interesting. It gave me 110 volts before, but it's not doing it now for some reason. All right, here we are, back again. It is Wednesday, October 18th, 2023. I got this Laars Mighty Therm 2 gas-fired boiler. There's all the specs that you need on it. So, yesterday, we obtained the new Fenwall controller. This is an automatic ignition controller, similar to the Honeywell for intermittent ignition systems, you know, spark igniter. But this is for hot surface igniter, which is indicated by the igniter 110, 120, and then our neutral there, which is also flame, but L1, L2 in the center. This is the blower control, 24 volts from our terminal bus. We have our TH, which is the W, the pressure switch circuit, ground, and most importantly, valve. So the original one, which was here, intermittently would give 110 volts to the hot surface igniter, which is the two gray wires. Okay? Those two gray wires. And when it did give 110 volts to the igniter and the igniter glowed, we did not get any power to valve. And I took upon the liberty to just strip off some of the insulation right there so I could put an alligator clip there to ground in there. And with the new control, I was getting 24 volts to the gas valve circuit, but only for 1 second. Such a little time where I actually hooked up a digital manometer, right, to the outlet side test port. So little time where my digital manometer didn't show any pressure leaving the gas valve. So it was giving it 24 volts for a split second, not even enough time for the gas valve to energize. So I got on the phone with Rath Associates. They're in Farmingdale, Long Island, in New York, and called them. And they're saying that this one is bad. So here it is. Here's another one. Let's see if it works. All right, so here is control number 3. This is the Fenwall, the 3566-2939-113. It's installed. This is the original one. This is the second one that I got yesterday. Got it in an Uber. Long story. Okay, I have my Fluke 902 FC clamp-on digital multimeter hooked up to my 24-volt gas burner circuit, and one to ground. I'm going to turn on power. Okay. Our Laars boiler control energizes, right? Right now we have a call for power. We have a call for heat call and a domestic hot water call. Okay, this is the older model where this is the only terminal bus we have. The newer ones have, it's more detailed. After about 30 seconds, our blower motor, the inducer assembly, is going to kick on. Once that does, it's going to create pressure in the combustion chamber, which is sealed, right? And it's going to be sensed by that pressure switch here, and that's going to allow our gas valve, as long as the other safety circuits are fine, it's going to allow our gas valve to send 110 volts to our hot surface igniter, right? And then 24 volts to our gas valves. So let's see what happens. There's my inducer motor assembly. Let's take a look at the sight glass for our hot surface igniter. So I'm using my other phone. You're going to see that glow in a second through that sight glass. Give that a minute. There's our glow. I don't know if you see that. We have a nice glow of that hot surface igniter. And now we're going to wait for 24 volts on our gas valve coming from our Fenwall controller. Our hot surface igniter is still glowing. I can't show everything. Hot surface getting 24 volts, and then it kicks out within literally a second and a half. You saw that. No bueno. No bueno. It's going to try recycling that startup again. My hot surface igniter is glowing. Indicator right there. We're going to hear the click of the 24 volts shortly, feeding 24 volts to the two valves. We had ignition. I heard that ignition for a split second. Oh, we had ignition for a split second there. Oh, interesting. Very, very interesting here. That is new. Our hot surface igniter is off again. Now it's re-energizing. Just barely see that in that sight glass. Let's try that again. All right. And I am going to try to get you a view of that ignition. Okay, there's a sight glass right there. And again, I apologize for the wiggliness. Waiting for that 24 volt click. There it is. And it goes out again in a second. Something's not right. All right, let's get off the phone with Laars Tech Support. We did a bunch of testing here. I even needed some of the wires to make pigtails. So I cut them from the transformer. I got a wire nut that before I leave. But what we did essentially is that we took off one of the gas valves and just brought power to just one. That worked. I even got it to fire by, and I don't suggest doing this at all, I got it to fire by letting it go through the cycle. And as soon as I heard the click of the relay giving it 24 volts, I energized my gas valves, right, which is this brown wire, right, here, for my 24 volts, and it ran. And it ran for a good, I would say a good 10 minutes. And then I turned it off because I need to do some testing with Laars over the phone. So by bringing 24 volts to my 2 gas valve, I proved that the system works, right, as long as it's being told to run. The problem we're having is that when this gives the gas valve circuit 24 volts, it's only doing it for a second. And when it does that, I don't even have a gas pressure drop across my gas valve, right? If I do check my outlet side, I get nothing. On one of the last tests, I checked my inlet pressure, and I had around 6.1 inches of water column, and with that split second of 24 volts, it did drop to 5.5, which is acceptable. Perfectly fine. So we're one thing that's left, right? We checked our flow sense. There's a gray wire in here. So ground, chassis to gray wire, screw terminal, right? We should have consistent 24 volts as long as this is getting 24 volts, which it does. And that's after air proving. So if the pressure switches are closed, that's going to get 28 volts, closing the circuit. And this is a flow switch, which senses flow when the circulator's on. Nice little touch, right? So now we're at our hot surface igniter. I've tested this a few times. It works. Right now we're 105 ohms across it, and it should be between 50 and 85. We're on the high side with 105 ohms. That's a little high. And our amperage, it stops at 3.4 amps when it's getting 120 volts, but it starts at 1.9, and within 4 seconds, it gets to 3.4. It should be a minimum of 3.4 to 3.5 and a max of 4.5 amps of power. So that's the only thing that's left at this point right now. I've been here for about almost 2 hours now. This is my third trip here. We had Sunday, right, where I installed the new transformer. We had yesterday evening when I came with this Fenwall controller. And now we have today when I came with this Fenwall controller. Now, you may be saying, Mikey Pipes, why are you swapping out parts? It's definition of insanity, expecting different results by doing the same thing over and over again. Well, let me just tell you, I am a troubleshooter and a technician. That's how I operate. I operate kind of like an engineer, but I'm not an engineer, right? I operate that way. I know my order of operation on how things work, and I have a basic fundamental of that. So if my first Fenwall controller was inconsistently getting 110 volts to my hot surface igniter, there's something wrong with it. And especially when that one time or a couple times where I did have a hot surface igniter energized, right, my valve to chassis or ground wasn't giving 24 volts. That eliminated that. So I brought in this one yesterday. We brought in this one yesterday, hooked it up. I get my hot surface igniter energizes, my gas valve gets 24 volts for literally a second, and then it cuts off. Called up Laars, Rath Associates. They're saying the Fenwall control that you got is bad. I got another one. Boom, there it is, doing the same exact thing. And now here we are with a hot surface igniter on the floor, which also does flame rectification. So I cannot put a universal one in there. It also does flame rectification, specific for this model. And if you're watching this, if you're having the same problem, bro, I've been there, done that, and my Uber with the new part is there. We're good. All right, so I just met the Uber driver. I got our Laars part. It is 12:28. I'm exhausted. For the past hour, I have been diligently trying to take my sweet ass time and clean out the inside of my service vehicle. Cleaned up a little bit, but let's go throw the part in. All right, so there's the new one. There's the old one. I don't think we could put a square peg into a round hole, but I would like to see. Does it come with anything else? It comes with an instruction sheet. Read these instructions carefully. Verify that the replacement electrical component is an exact or factory authorized replacement intended for use in the appliance. Well, wish me luck. All right, so my new hot surface igniter tests around 63 ohms. I had to cut off the, Molex connector, which was on the ends of the hot surface igniter. I crimped on some new of those little spade connectors, slid them into there. And to double check I have good connection, I checked my resistance between ING 120 and ING FlameSense FS on here. After taking it out, I still get the same resistance reading. So now we're just going to put the front cover on, fire up. Air proofing will occur, and we'll see what happens after I turn the gas valve on. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Never a dull moment. Okay, my green light is on. My space heating coil is orange. My domestic hot water coil is orange. I have everything basically buttoned up. There's my Wago that I previously stripped the wire on. Gas is on. That's all in there. That's in there as well. My ground, my valve, my air proofing switches, my TH. We should have the inducer assembly kick on in momentarily. This right here, we figured that out. I probably mentioned it already. This is a high limit manual reset. It's hooked up to a thermal tube right there. And this is going to slide in there like that. And let's see what happens, guys. Let's see what happens. Let me take this. Let me put this onto my read amperage. Let's put that onto the ING wire, which is this ground wire right there. Sorry, the gray and the black. I'm exhausted. 3.9. Okay. Better than I had before. Let there be a God, please. A lot of time invested into this. Uncut, unedited, raw. Can you imagine they were set to off this whole time? That would suck. Let's see. Second attempt. There's the glow of the hot surface igniter. Running at 3.7 amps. I think we have fucking ignition. Holy shit. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. And I gotta tell you, I don't normally do this, but I fixed it. Me, Mike Dyack, pipe doctor. I fixed it. Sorry. They'll still probably call you, but they'll call me when it really is effed. Smash that thumbs up button, guys. What do you think?
I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah? Really?
Yeah. It's working.
Oh my God. I think they have hot water and heat.
It's running. We're gonna make sure. I gotta make sure it runs and turns off like it should. So I still got some time here, but
You sure you want lunch? I'm really
no, I'm okay. I'm okay. But it's running.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Good stuff.
No, great stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like ice. Put on gloves.
Yeah. And just when you think you're all done, right? Mother effer. Oh, man. You mother effer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a little post-video commentary. The moral of the story here is just because something tests okay doesn't mean it is okay. So, for example, that hot surface igniter needs to test between 50 and 85 ohms. Okay, that's according to the manufacturer. That is a hot surface igniter that also does flame sensing flame rectification, right? So if you don't have 50 to 85 ohms, and let's say it read 45 like mine did originally, and then it went to, what was it, 106 when it was cool? Something's not right there, right? Also, the amperage. It should read between 3.5 and 4.5 amperage within like 2 seconds of being energized with 110 volts. If you're not getting that within 2 seconds, that's a problem, right? So in this particular case, we have about 5 hours invested here, right? We diagnosed 3 failures. Transformer failure. We had control module failure. And we had hot surface igniter failure. Seems kind of odd and rare, but it happens. In this particular case, it did happen. It is what it is. An expensive service call for the homeowner, but nonetheless, this Laars Mighty Therm 2, which was only installed or manufactured in 2020, should have many more years of life left to it. Plain and simple. Thank you so much for watching. Smash that thumbs up button and consider subscribing. You know what? The more subscribers this channel has and gets, the more inclined I am to create more content on a daily basis, because I really believe that together we can make the trades great again and learn something new every day. Thank you again, guys. Wouldn't be here without all of you. Be well, God bless, stay safe.